Hi, ladies. Hi, Emma. It's so good to see you.
Hi, ladies. It's lovely to be here. Beautiful sunny day here in Devon today. What about where you guys are?
It's a little hazy, but the sun is trying to break through. Still been gorgeous. We've had lovely, lovely weather here. Thank you. So, ladies watching us today, we have our wonderful Clem Lafrades with us today, and she's got such an interesting story. She had a very successful business. I'll let her give the details, but 26 years. And then she's recently pivoted to step into what she really feels is her calling and kind of always knew it was. So, Clem, welcome to Crossroads Cafe today. I'll hand over to you and please share your story with us.
Hi, everyone. So, I have been in the fitness industry since I was 19 and started a fitness business in my early 20s and had stayed in fitness for 26 years. Recently closed my gym last year during COVID. We tried to hang on. We kept paying the lease. My landlord was not giving us any break or discount, even though we couldn't be in the building or serve any clients. Our doors were like really, really closed. And it was a perfect opportunity to face what I had been feeling and hearing since 2017. And in 2017, I had already been in the business for a long time. I'd served a lot of clients. I even had done many different things that kind of pivoted, I thought was pivoting back then. I went from serving outdoor boot camps to going indoors, women only, to doing a mix of men and women, and then going into bodybuilding, training athletes for bodybuilding, and then also um, producing bodybuilding shows. So I feel like I've
Wow.
been on a move, and now that I look back, I think I was trying to create some fulfillment for myself and
Yeah.
doing it in the space that I was because that's where I am and that's what I knew. I only knew fitness. So looking back, I think I was really trying to find other ways to satisfy or feel fulfilled and whole in my current career. But it was fun. I'm not, it was all fun, but I still felt like something was not complete. Yeah.
So, what was the final thing that made you think, okay, right? And what tell us about your
Oh,
which is,
I,
I mean,
oh,
it's
very different.
very different.
Very different. I am now a sound therapy healer, energy healing. It's popular now with Reiki and all of that. But there's many, many different types of energy healings. In my culture, I'm Filipino. In the islands of the Philippines, there's over 2,000 islands and there's over 2,000 languages. So there's so many different kind of
Wow.
healings there too. Um, but I've kind of shied away from it and pushed it away, and going into religion as I become a young adult, I pushed it away even harder and didn't want it,
Yeah.
thinking,
Yeah.
oh, that's evil or it's not right. And in 2017, I suffered from an anxiety attack that felt like death. Like it felt like chest caving in, heart constricting and tightening, and I couldn't breathe. I couldn't talk. I was on the floor here in this room, and I tried to get up, and I couldn't get up. Like no muscles in my body worked at all, and I couldn't call for help. And my family was downstairs, and I thought, well, great. I didn't see them yet, and I really thought that my mind knew I was dying. So I accepted death, like very solemnly, very peacefully, after trying to fight it, trying to reach for help and realize that I can't do anything. There's nothing I could do to get help. So even if I had a call button that says help me I couldn't reach for the buttons. So there's nothing I could do. I just accepted it, and I let this peace all of a sudden come upon my mind, and it came upon my whole body. I felt lighter. And I said, "Thank you, God. Just tell my kids I love them, and give Alfred all the passwords to all of the bank accounts, and make sure all the bills are paid." and and when that happened, my body released. I was able to talk again, and I was able to move again. And I instinctually knew that my brain shut off my body because it was too much going on in my head. There was too much chaos, too much chatter, too much thinking, too much worry, too much people pleasing, wanting to help and fix everybody. I can imagine over 20 years in fitness, and there's so many people. I thought I was responsible for their results, for their success.
Right, right.
And one thing I learned is, if you don't give people the when you don't put the ball in their court, or you try to save too many people, they don't try to save themselves, so that you become the target of blame. And because people can't take responsibility for something that's not in their hands to take responsibility, I kept pulling the responsibility,
Taking
trying
it.
to, yes, taking it,
Fix
taking
it.
it. Exactly.
Us women do that, don't we? We always try and fix it, and it brings so much more stress and upset to our own being, doesn't it? The more we try and do that.
Yeah, and as you're saying, Clem, as well, you're actually teaching people learned helplessness, aren't you? And I've done it, definitely done it. You're not giving them the opportunity to learn their own lessons or build their own metaphorical muscle, never mind the physical muscle, isn't it?
Very true. Very true. You know, through the work I've been doing, after that happened, I realized I needed to get therapy. So I had a therapist for my business, and she kind of doubled as a marriage therapist, since my husband and I were partners. And we had another therapist for just me. And with the books and everything, I thought, I took everybody's. When you're a people pleaser and you're a fixer, you kind of believe what people say about you. When they say, "Oh, you need this," or "You should do it this way. This is the way, the better way, and you should change it to this, and you should be more like this, and this is how." But we don't realize that you be you, the right people will work with you. We're
Yeah.
trying to save everybody and help everyone, but each person is different, and they have different needs. And although weight loss and fitness is for everyone, the kind of teacher or deliverer is not. The facilitator might not be the right match. And
Sure.
so I kept
Yes.
changing myself, changing myself,
Yeah.
changing myself. And through the changing myself, I then fell into that anxiety attack. That was what did it. I couldn't find the alignment to myself. I lost myself in the process of making everybody happy, um, taking advice from all my clients. "Oh, do it this way, do it this way. You should do this. You should be this." Then I lost the
Yeah.
essence and the spirit of this very successful business. People loved coming there. They felt safe. They felt joy. They felt that feeling of loving camaraderie and community. And I began to lose it. I lost myself in the process. And that's what happens when we lose ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, we
Mm.
give our power away, don't we? We're giving it to everybody else. And as you said, it's very easy to lose your essence there. And it's no wonder you end up burnt out, because you're just not in alignment. You're not tapped into what lights you up.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a journey. So what happened when you realized you came out? So you had your therapy, and
It
what?
all led to meditation, the
Right?
books. I would say, give me books, because I'm a learner. I
Yes.
am now balanced, but I was very more intellectual, very more about, like, I need proof, or I need teachings. I need
Need
so
to understand.
yeah. And that's why I went
Yeah.
the therapy way. The therapy way was more scientific. I'm more in that realm. So, but in the books of emotional intelligence and all the books that I was given, meditation seemed to have been snuck into everything.
Yay.
And in my past, because meditation in the religion I was following was like, no, don't meditate. You know, you're supposed to take captive every thought. You're not supposed to meditate. And I thought, okay, so I believed everything I was told back then when it came to spiritual things or religious things. I just followed the norm. Um, and shunned away everything else. But then this was science. This was like science shows how meditation changes the circuitry of your brain, how the firings in your synapses in your brain changes in meditation. So I can't deny it. So I hired well, not hired. I found a guru that studied in India, and I learned Vedic meditation. So that was the first kind I learned.
What's it called again?
Vedic.
Vedic, did you?
Yes, yeah, Vedic.
And what type of and what makes that different to any other meditation, Clem?
This one is non-judgmental. You're not trying. You're just being. You're not trying to get the thoughts out of your head. You allow them to come. You accept them. You give awareness to them, and then you just sit with it and see if it goes away or if you're supposed to um, become aware of it.
Pay attention to it a bit more.
Pay attention. Yes, it's kind of like a, I don't know, more of a allowing instead of forcing. And
Nice.
it changes the way it just feels different in the body. Like, oh, I have to remember that, or oh, or especially thoughts that you've been avoiding or pushing down or hiding or too busy to deal with. If they come, they come, and maybe you're supposed to deal with it. Everything happens for a reason, and we're trying to control everything in our life. Even our meditation, we're trying to control.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I love that. And that's what you do now, isn't it? So it's the meditation and it's the
yes.
sound baths and it's
I kind of, and then I learned other different ones, and I've kind of mingled whatever. I just ask my soul, which one do I need today? Is it Vedic? Is it breath work? Is it sound? And most of the time, like sound is pretty all the time because we're all vibration. Everything is vibrating. So I kind of use this as a cleanser. I cleanse my energy. I cleanse the frequencies in my body. But to exercise, like a workout for my brain, then I do a Vedic meditation. I see what thoughts come in and what thoughts don't serve me any longer. I choose to let them go.
Very nice. Very, very nice.
Yes.
I'm so interested in all this meditation because we've had this conversation before, Felicity, haven't we? Where I hear Felicity tells me about the meditations that she's had, and I hear and I'm like, oh my God, it sounds amazing. And you know, she tells me about different thoughts that have come in, and then she may pivot or change things within her business based on how she's feeling, how she's being. And I always feel my meditations are forced. I feel like in the mornings when I get up and I meditate, it's a little bit forced. I definitely need to learn more. I definitely need to learn more about this stuff.
There's a book called Bliss More, Bliss, Bliss More, by Light Watkins. And he's also from that same stem of meditation, transcendental meditation. I think Ellen did it, Meghan Markle did it. Like there's a lot of people, it's another brand, I guess, that stemmed off from Vedic. But it gives you the concepts of how it works. So
Been around a long time, hasn't it? The transcendental meditations, but in the obviously in India for centuries, but in the West since the 70s or so.
Yes, I think so. Right. And so transcendental came from the Vedic but it doesn't
Right.
follow exactly because it's not from a guru. You can just do the concept on your own. But it'll give you that, allowing. And I think what Emma, you were speaking of the pivot, it's more of like you feel like you get a download of information or remembrance. Your higher self reminds you of the alignment for your direction, kind of downloads inspiration into you. And because when we're in our controlling, when we're in our trying to make things happen, trying to make meditation happen, there's that feeling of stress and tightness and blockage in our body. Yeah, our physical self can feel it. Our face can feel it. We can look at our face and it's scrunched up, or I'm trying to meditate. But I love that feeling of just being and having divine guidance from our inner world, our in our heart, which is lovely.
I think for me, I've been meditating in different forms for quite a long time now, and I think when you say about you use the sound healing bowls to clear. For me, when I find meditation is a practice as well, isn't it? And some days I'm meditated, some days I'm peaceful, but I feel that over the years it's helped me to get quite clean internally most of the time, so that if I get an intuition, I know whether it is a genuine intuition and that I'll pay attention to, or whether it's a good idea in my head.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I love about it. Yeah. And when you do get a bit practiced, and you have to pay attention to that as well. I've really worked on getting clear on my intuition. Don't you? It doesn't matter what anybody else says to you, you just know. And it's unique to you and for you. That's what I love so much. Yeah.
And it may not be logical, because I knew I was supposed to get out of fitness in 2017. And so one of the things I teach now to my clients is don't judge, don't label good or bad, right or wrong in anything, in any part of life, which is kind of a Buddhist tradition too, the unattachment, the non-judgmental. But I thought if we practice this non-judgment, then when we get downloads and we get intuitive hits to go left instead of right, we we won't judge it. And we'll just do it and see what happens. I think as women, we have to know what's next. We have to know what's coming. We have to know the next, where does this lead? And many times that most wonderful things happen because we just obeyed our soul's leading to something, the breadcrumbs, and it took us to a whole nother thing that we had not imagined. I'd not imagined doing this. This is very different from fitness. Very different.
Yeah.
And just to add a little bit, because obviously we want to ask you some more questions, Clem, but I recently had an impromptu session with Clem. I called you, hadn't I, Clem, to speak about someone else actually, and ended up going into a session, and oh my goodness, it was really powerful. And things I thought I dealt with, it was like the next layer of the onion, and I had cry, which I rarely cry. I haven't done since a child, and it was just the most incredibly healing session. So and your business is really starting to thrive, isn't it? International clients, not just me, isn't it? So, and being in alignment, and it's the right thing, and you're the right person at the right time, right space, it's starting to really blossom. I'm so happy to see that.
Thank you. Even my marketing, it used to be like I would follow a formula that a business coach said to follow. Now I just move in inspiration, because I used to do the work begrudgingly, like, oh, I have to do this, I have to make these posts, and I have to send these emails, and I have to. But now I ask, if I don't feel excitement, or if I don't feel passion or some kind of joy from it, I'll put it down, and then maybe later when I feel that good feeling, that yummy feeling about it, then I'll do it later. So I don't always have a scheduled time to do emails. I don't have a scheduled time to do, I try to do the bulk social media, but I'm finding that even though I'm haphazard in the marketing, I'm still like, I feel like my magnetic energetic field is just drawing the right people in. Last night I had a session with someone who came from Africa, and she's been struggling since she was a child, and and released. She was coughing up, almost barfing. I was scared that she was gonna vomit in my healing tent, and so I grabbed a bag, and she started remembering that when she was a little child, that she saw another little girl come into her,
Oh,
like a lost soul. And I didn't plan on that kind of, because it was just a full moon retreat that I was hosting. I wasn't planning to do any healings last night. And it just surprisingly, I impromptu healing session happened, and she released this. She said she remembers clear. She's probably 40 something years old, and she remembers being a child. A little
Wow.
girl was looking at her, and she saw that little girl come into her, and it's been with her all these years. And last night she just started gagging and hacking, and um, I smudged the room with incense, and played the bowls until she was done. And the girl, she said, finally the girl turned around and went into the light. She said she was just always scared to go into the light, and she saw her grandfather come and pick her up and take her.
Oh
And
my
I thought, oh
God.
my gosh, I did not plan. That was not planned. Nothing that I do is planned now. I mean, not nothing. I have to clean my house, and I have to do the right things for upkeep and discipline.
but you're
But
available, aren't you? You're in a place where you're available to whatever needs. Yeah, and that's beautiful. And I think, in obviously your business is very got a totally spiritual foundation, but I think in any business, I love what you say there about the marketing, because I have for a while, I call it hustle fatigue. It's just like, oh, another post, but it's when it's right, and when you're in the, it just, don't get me wrong, and there are always going to be days when you're less perky than others, but it just feels like it's such a joy, and you're in flow, aren't you? It's so much less
flow.
effort, isn't it? And you don't have to follow the formula that everybody else says you should follow. You just put
I'm
out.
glad I'm glad that I learned the formula, so I know the different techniques, but I now go to my spirit, to my heart, and feel into myself and see which technique is good for today, which one should I.
Mm.
And magically, that is the one that I brings in someone, and it's out of order, not in the order I was told to do it. It's not in but at least I know how to
Would you
do it.
say would you say that's one of the biggest lessons for you,
Yes,
in really
is
sort of following your inner compass, if you like, and not
control.
worrying, I suppose, about just allowing that to guide you?
Yeah, the releasing the control has really helped relieve a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of worry, because we think we can control everything because we're in fear. Control comes from a spirit of fear. We're afraid of um, something. Usually it's afraid of not having enough, not being providing, or not something, right? And so we try to control the situation, control the relationships, control the things around us. And then when we realize it doesn't matter, you can't control everything,
Mm,
things are gonna go to bonkers.
yes.
That's just a part of life. Then you kind of breathe through the issues. You just breathe through. You go to it. You breathe through it, and then you pass through it, and it feels very different than trying to be tense
Yes.
in it, like you know. and
Mm.
and now it's the acceptance of things happen for me, not to me. So if I'm supposed to experience this, there's a lesson in it. And again, it goes back to that lesson in the beginning of just not judging. It's from our judgment of good or bad, then we get scared of the situation. Oh, this situation is bad or wrong. Then we tense up. But if we don't judge it at all and just allow ourselves to experience it, then we'll learn and grow from it and get to our higher next best self because we went through it.
Mm. A really useful question I've learned is from Michael Beckwith when something like that is happening, and is to say, what is trying to emerge here that presently I cannot see? And then you're not trying to push it down or change it or fit it into the old perspective that you had. You're just allowing maybe something new to come through. So yeah.
Exactly.
It's not easy to make the shift, is it? Well, it takes practice, let's put it that way, because the quicker and deeper you surrender, the easier it is. Although surrender's not easy, that's not how we live, is it? We're used to, as you say, living in much more of a survival environment. But yeah, it feels totally different. But it is, I think, for me, every time I have a situation come up, I know now whether I'm trying to force something or whether I'm in flow, and I'll try and step back from it and go, okay, right, what's happening here? What do I need to do here? Instead of just repeating an old pattern, even though in the past that pattern might have been useful and served me. It's like, what is happening here now? What do I need to do now in the present moment?
Yeah. We learned that at Dr. Joe Dispenza. We keep bringing the past known into and then creating a future known based on past information. So that past information creates information to control the future now. So now it's a future known instead of like taking things as they are. Being non-judgmental helps us surrender a lot easier, I feel.
Yes, work in progress with this one, but I love it. I love every moment. And
Yeah.
it's just, life is just so, it feels so much. Well, I call it delicious. What did you call it? Yummy. You called it yummy.
Yummy.
It's like, oh, I really like this. This is so much easier than all that efforting. So yeah.
Hustle, grind.
And that's the thing. I think it's the beliefs that we have, isn't it? Sometimes the belief is you've got to push, you've got to work hard, you've got to do more. Because if you do more, you achieve more. It's all about hard work. And I do think it is about hard work. If I'm on, like, I think of what I've done to get to this point in my career, it's been hard work. And I'm sure you both agree with be exactly the same. But then actually the real creativity and the results come when what you've just said, when you go, do you know what, actually, let's just slow down a little bit. When you slow down a little bit, and then you can actually see it for what it is, rather than this push all the time.
I'm a natural planner. Like that's my Capricorn. I like things in order. I like things organized. I like things planned out. And so now I just have to remind myself, leave room in your planner, or in your planning, for magic, blessings, and miracles.
Beautiful. I love that.
Leave room in there. And if something is difficult, like say hit a road bump or a roadblock, then stand there. Don't keep pushing. Just stand there and feel it. Feel the feelings in it. Observe the environment and observe. Come out of the situation and get a different bird's eye perspective. Maybe go to a different location on a higher mountain and look down upon the situation and see now a broader view, and see if you can see around it different avenues, different ways to shift. Because if you hit a roadblock, that doesn't mean no. It just means you need to become more flexible and learn something new about yourself. And maybe if you go this way, you'll learn more empathy, more love, more compassion, more something that you're missing, something that is not being implemented in your current business life.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
That's a big lesson. That's a big lesson right there, isn't it?
It is. It is, definitely.
Lovely.
So what's...
Yeah, sorry.
Go on, Felicity. No, go, you go.
No, you, because I think you were going to say the same thing anyway.
No, I was just going to say, so what are your plans with what you're doing now and moving forwards with your business?
Plans. I can only plan so far. Currently, I closed my gym, and so I started doing business from home. I erected a beautiful meditation garden yesterday. This past weekend, it's the full moon this week. Tomorrow is the full moon, and so This past weekend, I've had people come and walk barefooted on beautiful grass that we grew in a labyrinth. There's many labyrinths all over the world, in churches, in all kinds of places, in parks. But this specific pattern I found, there's many different patterns also of labyrinths. It's like a maze, but you don't get lost because you're only going to the center of yourself. In the center of a labyrinth is entering into yourself. And so there's only one way in. So I'm this pattern I found is over 5,000 years old. It's been found on every single continent in the United States, from Mexico to South America, Australia to, you know, Europe. So it's a really old, predates religion. It's really old pattern. And the people who walked the labyrinth yesterday was like, oh my gosh, there was a lot of intense energy that they felt. Just it's a it's a slow walking meditation. You're not trying to go fast. You're not forcing yourself to run and get to the finish line. You're just being and noticing how you are. Do I try to rush? And if I am, that means I show up that way in life. Am I being judgmental? Am I doing this right? You know, people always ask that. Am I doing this right? Something new that they've never done before. Am I doing this right? And if you're judging yourself while you're walking meditation, then you're probably judging yourself in real life. So a lot of your issues come up and you get to hear and see and notice them come up, and you get to decide when you get to the middle center of that labyrinth, into the center of yourself, what do I want to keep and what do I want to release?
Oh, I love that. What a beautiful metaphor, and a very
Yes.
experiential one as well, isn't it? When you're physically.
Yes. And so when you exit the labyrinth, you're re entering into the world, into this physical world, keeping what you wanted to keep that's true to you, aligned to yourself, and you released everything else during the walk,
Mm. Mm.
which is beautiful. So I have that, and I have a healing tent in the backyard, and we do like a yurt,
Yes.
everybody calls it, and a fire pit. And so we do a lot of releasing at the fire pit. Also, the energy of fire and smoke takes things up into the heavens for you, and a lot of relaxing. A lot of people come to me. I have people coming to me now from the medical field because of the anxiety and the stress,
Yeah.
and they're a lot of young people are dealing with anxiety.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. I'm really tempted. I haven't got anything really going on at the moment that I feel like I need to have a session, but I'd like to have another one just because it was so delicious, Clem. So thank you so much for sharing today. It's just, it's a lovely, a slightly different perspective on the entrepreneurial life, but like one I think that is so important. And I know you know that you were part of a big shift for me. Last time we did this interview and the recording didn't really go very well, but I was like, oh my goodness, I'm really missing that, having the spiritual part of my life, which is such a big part. It feels neglected. And since the interview, and we've talked a bit since then, I've pivoted in the middle of pivoting my business, a different offering where I'm actually bringing in the spiritual side a little more, whereas before it was always in under the radar. So yes, thank you so much for your influence, and I love the work you're doing, and I know that you bring your clients so much healing. So it's been a pleasure to have you, my dear. We'll put your website details on the links so people will know to find you.
I want to give one more. When you were talking, is the reason you were able to do what you were doing is because you took yourself out of the box. And I think in life, we have to remember this is an adventure. We chose to come to this planet. Out of the millions and millions of planets out there, this is the one we chose to come to. Our soul made a contract to come to this one. So enjoy your time here and create it as an adventure. And we tend to judge everything right and wrong, what's good and bad, that we constrict ourselves into a box. But once we take those limitations of the four walls and the ceiling and the floor off of our life, we can more richer, more aligned, heartfelt experiences, not just in business, but in life and love and relationships too.
Beautiful. Emma, have you got anything?
Amazing.
Final question?
I'm just sort of taking it all in. I'm taking it all in. I feel, just even speaking to you, I feel you're very calming, and you're very I don't know, very spiritual, and yeah, very wise. And it's got me. There's lots of things going on inside my head at the moment, but you seem to be able to put things into perspective. And I think, see, people listening to this, people that don't either, I wouldn't say practice this, but people that don't sometimes understand the benefits of meditation, or the benefits of actually sitting, even if it's just sitting still without trying to think too much about what's to come or what's been. People that don't necessarily understand that may listen to this and think it's a little bit crazy. My answer to that is you have to try different things. If you're feeling anxious, or if you're feeling upset, or if you're feeling uptight, just be open-minded to different things. And I do feel like, Clem, what you do with your sound baths and all that kind of stuff, I think it's pretty magical, actually. And I think it can really help if you're struggling.
Yeah, thank you.
So
thank you for having
thank
me.
you so much for taking the time out to be here.
It's been such a great interview. Okay, so lovely to have you, Clem, and Em, we'll catch up soon. And thank you all for listening.
Bye.
Thanks, ladies. See you soon. Bye.